Wxyz 1270, where everything stops for the news.
It's 7 a.m.
Part of America's armed forces overseas in Europe and South Vietnam may come home soon. Police Commissioner Edwards says mafia leaders have told Detroit bookies to ease up. The U.S. government has ordered 3 Russian diplomats to leave the country by Friday. The Romney tax program comes in for more consideration today as the Common Council rejects the revised version. Right now in Detroit, it's 48 degrees.
The morning report from Wxyz-Radio News, brought to you by Northwest Orient Airlines, the first airline with direct jet service from Chicago to the Orient, and by your neighborhood IDL drugstore. Remember, IDL stands for integrity, dependability, and leadership on your entire family's drug needs. Now, here's Bob Hart.
Good morning. The United States military commander in South Vietnam, General Paul Harkins, said in a report published in Tokyo this morning that at least 1,000 of the 15,000 American troops in South Vietnam will be en route home within 2 months. General Harkins, whose statement is in line with a White House announcement made earlier this month, was quoted as saying that victory, in the sense it would apply to the Vietnamese War, is just months away. On the heels of this report comes word from informed sources in Paris that the U.S. plans to send home its first major combat unit of 5,000 troops, despite objections from West Germany. In Detroit this morning, Police Commissioner George Edwards says the nationwide crime syndicate bosses have apparently told Detroit bookies to ease up somewhat. Edwards told WXYZ News that for the past week, it has been all but impossible to make a bet in Detroit through a bookie.
Our vice and gambling squads, headed by District Inspector Sage and Inspector John O'Neill, report that their sources of information indicate major mafia-backed numbers houses were closed down on order for Friday, Saturday, and Monday. We can't really anticipate that this desirable condition will continue to persist too long, but we are certain that we can pledge that the enforcement efforts will.
As the story of the syndicate's directive was revealed, news of a so-called summit meeting last winter between the mafia controllers of Detroit's numbers racket and Negro numbers operators was made known. The meeting was reportedly called to ease friction between the two groups and firm their relations. Now this from Northwest Orient.
Last year, Northwest Orient Airlines built a new kind of passenger terminal at New York's Idlewild Airport. A terminal that actually makes it easy to board a plane. How do our passengers like it? Listen now to actual comments.
I think the terminal facilities are great. Much faster, a much better service, both at the ticket counters and at the loading area in the airplane.
Easier to get on the plane, no question about that.
Normally I have to walk, it seems like miles to get on an airplane, and this time I stepped inside, sat down, relaxed, and then got on the plane.
Next trip you make to New York, take a Northwest fan jet to the convenient new Idlewild terminal of Northwest Orient Airlines. For reservations, call your travel agent or the Fan Jet Airline.
Northwest Orient Airlines.
Fly Northwest fan jets non-stop to New York. Daily service to the new Idlewild terminal of Northwest Orient Airlines.
Those 3 members of the Soviet mission to the United Nations charged with taking part in a spy plot have been ordered to leave this country by Friday afternoon. 2 of the diplomats were seized Tuesday night at a New Jersey airport when FBI agents arrested an American electronics engineer and a Russian chauffeur on charges of espionage. Claims and counterclaims filled the nation's political air last night as President Kennedy and Arizona Senator Goldwater examined the 33-month-old administration of Kennedy. The president told a Philadelphia fundraising dinner that his administration has taken steps which make America stronger than ever before and foster prospects for a brighter peace than ever before. In New York, Mr. Goldwater accused Kennedy of touching off a crisis of confidence harmful to the U.S. economy and termed Kennedy's 1964 economic performance 1,000 days of wasted spending, wishful thinking, unwarranted intervention, and waning confidence. A meeting of the Senate Taxation Committee is scheduled for this morning in an attempt to bring the property assessment bills of Governor Romney's fiscal reform program to the floor for debate. Senate Republican Caucus Chairman Stanley Thayer met with his GOP colleagues yesterday and said following the session that tremendous problems must still be overcome before the tax package succeeds. Thayer said that the only area of good progress in caucuses designed to drum up maximum Republican support has been in relatively minor changes, with the critical period coming forth when the proposed income tax is thoroughly discussed. Over in the House, Speaker Ellison Green has selected Monday as the day the tax program will be wrapped up and tied together in the House GOP caucus, Green saying that it is possible the program will come to the floor of one of the houses by the end of the week. The decision of which House in which to launch the program may come today at a joint session of the House and Senate Republican committees and Governor Romney. The time now is 5 minutes past 7 o'clock. The temperature in Detroit, 34 degrees. The newly revised Romney fiscal reform program met with a cool reception yesterday from Detroit and Wayne County officials. With a report, here is Al Koski of the Wxyz City County Bureau.
Mayor Kavanaugh summed up the feeling by saying, obviously, it will not assist taxpayers of this area. And Council President Ed Carey added that the new plan seems to deal greater impact than the original proposals. Wayne County and Detroit officials decided to advance legislative proposals in the hopes of raising $15 million that they'll need to pay the bills. What they want is state legislation to empower counties statewide to levy taxes that have not been taken over by the state. Coupled with this is another request that the state might rebate to counties' welfare costs based on 1 mil of equalized valuation or a 50-50 split, whichever is greater. The proposals grew out of the meeting of the Wayne County Board of Supervisors Subcommittee on Short and Long-Term Financing. Final recommendations won't go to Lansing until after next Tuesday's school millage proposal. Al Koski, WXYZ News, City County Bureau.
The morning report continues following this from your neighborhood IDL drugstore.
Look for the IDL sign on the door.
It's not just another drugstore.
It means there's quality in everything you see and helps your family dollar buy more.
When your doctor gives you a prescription, it's possible that it may call for a not-so-well-known antibiotic. In trying to get that prescription filled, you're likely to discover that most discount operations are geared to provide only a certain number of widely used drugs that enable the discounter to get a quick turnover. However, your neighborhood independent druggist league drugstore is a complete line store equipped to fill any prescription, calling for all kinds of unusual ingredients. And remember, too, you pay no more for prescriptions at IDL.
It means there's quality
in everything you see and helps your family dollar buy more.
Recent deaths attributed to botulism continue to plague the Great Lakes fishing industry as steps are taken in Lansing to help the industry through the crisis. The commercial fishing fleet at Charlevoix in Michigan's northwest Lower Peninsula was reported pulling in its nets today, most of its employees expected to be idle by tonight. In Lansing, Governor Romney appointed a 12-member committee yesterday to move immediately to help the industry. Romney said the committee will meet today at Michigan State University to make sure adequate steps are being taken to protect the public health and to consider immediate and long-range action. State Insurance Commissioner Sherwood Colburn spent his next-to-last day on the job yesterday by rekindling the charge of fire insurance write-off on dwellings in Detroit's inner city. A month ago, Colburn told the Common Council that 1/3 to 1/2 of the dwellings in Detroit's inner city are not insurable. Yesterday, he got some arguments. P.H. Kesselring, manager of the Michigan Inspection Bureau, told Council Colburn's statement was untrue. He says a 2-week survey shows some 3,400 policies had been written on dwellings in the inner city areas, which represents better than 59% of all policies in Detroit. The council will schedule further discussions on the matter. A preliminary hearing November 6th will determine whether or not an ex-convict from Saginaw will stand trial for the kidnapping last Friday of little Michelle Moran. John F. Clay, 33, the father of 4 sons who lives in Saginaw and is employed by a construction firm in Lansing, was formally charged with the crime yesterday by Ingham County Prosecutor Leo Farhat. Prime Minister Fidel Castro of Cuba announced last night the capture of several U.S. Central Intelligence Agency men, including 2 Canadians, and says they face possible death sentences. No comment yet from the CIA. The weather for metropolitan Detroit, cloudy and a little warmer today with a few sprinkles, a high of 60. Cloudy and mild with rain tonight and a low forecast of 45. Right now, the winds are from the west at 12 miles per hour, and the temperature in Detroit, 48 degrees. And that's the morning report to this moment.
The Morning Report with Bob Hart was brought to you by Northwest Orient Airlines and your neighborhood IDL drugstore. When it comes to prescriptions, drugs, vitamins, and cosmetics, you never pay more at your IDL drugstore.
Bob Hart standing by with the morning report from WXYZ News Central on this, the last day of October 1963. Thursday morning, Halloween night tonight. Fred Wolf at Broadcast House. I'll see you at 5 after 8. Get out of bed. Get an early start. The expressways are tied up.
WXYZ 1270. Where everything stops for the news.
Good morning. Bob Hart, WXYZ News. The morning report continues. Police Commissioner Edwards says bookies in Detroit have been told to ease off and reveals news of an Underworld Summit meeting here. The Romney tax program is the subject of more Republican caucuses today, as predictors say the bills may come up for debate next week. The revised fiscal reform program meets criticism from Detroit and Wayne County. Right now, the temperature in Detroit is 48 degrees. I'll have details on these and other stories following news around the world.
News around the world with Don Gardner, brought to you by Camel Cigarettes. For rich taste, for easygoing mildness, get with Camel every inch of real smoke. Comfortably smooth, too. Now here is Don Gardner.
Good morning from ABC News, New York. Ray Falk, our correspondent in Saigon, this morning reports that the big military search is on for 3 Americans believed captured by the Viet Cong. Falk says that some villagers report seeing the Americans, their arms tied behind them. They're using 45 U.S. helicopters, hundreds of South Vietnamese troops in the search for the U.S. GIs. General Paul Harkins, the commander of U.S. troops in Vietnam, says at least 1,000 of the 15,000 GIs there will be on their way home within 2 months. General Harkins says victory over the communists in South Vietnam is in sight. There's a report from Paris today that despite West German objections, an American troop unit will be coming home from Europe after all. The report says an armored cavalry regiment, 5,000 men, possibly more, will be coming back to the U.S. from West Germany. Algerian President Ben Bella and Morocco's King Hassan returned to their respective countries today from the Bamako Peace Conference. Both Ben Bella and King Hassan reportedly pleased by the ceasefire agreement worked out yesterday. More news in just a moment.
Get the clean-cut taste of rich tobaccos. Get with Camel. Camel, every inch of real smoke. Comfortably smooth, too.
Those in the know always get with Camel a real cigarette. The best taste you can smoke, every inch of real smoke. Camel is a real cigarette.
Camel, every inch a real smoke, comfortably smooth, too.
Those rescue operations in West Germany aimed at freeing those 3 trapped miners, they're reaching the critical period. The very latest from Ben Lacey at the mine site near Brunswick, West Germany.
The drilling has started again here at the Wxyz-Radio mine with only 62 feet still to go before rescue workers reach the trapped miners. The men are now building a platform to climb on when the drill breaks through, sending some 6,000 gallons of slush into their tunnel. One man will descend through the escape shaft to aid the trapped miners enter a bomb-shaped rescue capsule in which they will be brought to the surface one at a time. Air pressure in the tunnel must be kept constant during the rescue operation. If it is allowed to escape, the men will be swamped by tons of water being held back by their air bubble. This is Ben Lacey at the Wxyz-Radio mine near Brunswick, West Germany.
President Kennedy will hold a news conference today. It may be heard live over many of these ABC radio stations starting at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, the president spoke in Philadelphia last night, and ABC microphones were there as President Kennedy told the Democratic rally,
I believe in an America that is on the march, an America respected by all nations, friends and foes alike, an America that is moving, doing, working, trying, a strong America in a world at peace.
President Kennedy also reported that progress has been made in civil rights. The prospects for peace are brighter, that America is stronger than ever. Now, President Kennedy's America apparently is a different one from the America known to Senator Goldwater. ABC microphones with Senator Goldwater in New York last night as Goldwater outlined his remedy for an ailing America.
Well, the first thing I would do would be get off the backs of the American business. I would stop being antagonistic to the free enterprise system, and then I would propose a very sweeping change in our tax codes, a complete change.
Senator Goldwater felt that the president's economic program has been a failure. Now, a message from our sponsor.
Alice, who is it helps now with your cleaning? I need somebody.
Thought you did your own work.
I always have, but lately I've had a nagging backache with sleepless nights and feel tired out.
I know what discomfort backache can be. Better do something about it.
But what?
Try Doan's Pills.
Good advice. That's Doan's Pills, an analgesic and mild diuretic to the kidneys. Nagging backache, also headache, dizziness, and muscular aches and pains may come on with overexertion, emotional upsets, or everyday stress and strain. Doan's pain-relieving action is often the answer, and they also offer mild diuretic action through the kidneys. So if nagging backache is making you feel worn out, tired, and miserable with restless, sleepless nights, don't wait. Try Doan's Pills, used successfully by millions for over 60 years. See if they don't bring you the same welcome relief. Get Doan's Pills today. For convenience, buy Doan's large size.
This is news around the world.
This is Bob Hart in Detroit. The morning report continues following this from Chevrolet.
5 entirely different kinds of new cars from Chevrolet for 1964. Count them. 1, the jet smooth luxury Chevrolet. 2, America's only true sports car, Corvette. 3, the smart and thrifty Chevy 2. 4, the fun-loving Corvair. And number 5, Chevelle, the totally new 5th line of cars from Chevrolet for 64. See the 5 for 64 at your Chevrolet dealers now.
Tonight is a night, the coming of which is eagerly anticipated by children in the Detroit metropolitan area, Halloween. As the kiddies prepare to embark upon the job of trick-or-treating, Lieutenant Gordon Smith of the Detroit Police Department's Youth Bureau has this reminder for parents.
Any child under the age of 12 must be off the streets by 10 o'clock in the evening. Any child who has attained the age of 12 and 13 may stay out until 11 p.m. Any child 14, 15, or 16 may stay out until 12 midnight by city ordinance. Of course, if the parents order them to come in sooner, then they must be in sooner.
Lieutenant Gordon Smith of the Detroit Police Department's Youth Bureau. The weather for metropolitan Detroit, cloudy and a little warmer today with a few sprinkles, a high forecast of 60. Cloudy and mild with rain tonight and a low of 45. Right now, the winds are from the west at 12 miles per hour, and the temperature in Detroit, 48 degrees. See 5 entirely different kinds of new cars at your Chevrolet dealers now. And that's the morning report to this moment. The morning report continues at 8:52.
WXYZ in Detroit.